Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of our Tuesday ranking shows. We're running out of these shows. Pretty soon we might have to start ranking mascots or something. I don't know. But we're going to figure something out. So we'll see where it leads from here. But I'm going to be your host as I have been for all these ranking shows. I'm SEC Sean. The man joining me on stage tonight is the CEO of WTP Sports, Mr. Robert Brown. How are things going in your world?
Everything is going fantastic in my world. I'm anxious to get into these linebackers. One thing that I've noticed out of all of the defensive shows that we've done so far, we've done interior line, edge rushers. Now we're on the linebackers, the front seven guys, and we have not mentioned an Ohio State Buckeye guy yet. Maybe we will tonight. Hold on and see.
Yeah, that's been a shock to me. We've had a lot of teammates on here from other schools, but man, to not have anybody from Ohio State and in any of these defensive ones so far is just kind of crazy to me. Now, with that being said, we know there's talent there. Hopefully by the end of the year, we don't look like fools by not having none on there.
Right.
So, we'll just kind of go through how we do everything, which I like I said, I like to tell everybody so they know, people that are joining for the first time. If you are joining for the first time, or if you're a repeat viewer, please comment. Drop your comments. We like to hear them. We like to see them. Give us your thoughts as the rankings are going. And look down below us in the little purple banner. You're going to see all the channels that are a member of WTP Sports. Scrolling down there, WTP for Life, Level Up Sports 10, Parlay Po, Post Game, City League TV, One Take Zaya. I'm SEC Sean. Go like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so you'll know when we're going live. Drop your questions, comments, whatever you need to do. We'll discuss them. But how we did our rankings was we take a vote. Well, I'll get into that in 1 second. Let's go welcome in another one of the finest gentlemen ever to talk sports. The COO, in my mind, Mr. Postgame. How are things on your world?
Oh man, it is all good, man. I'm just itching for some football, man. I can't wait any longer, man. It needs to happen. But I know we getting closer and closer. We're doing our top 10 linebackers today. I'm excited about this show. How you gentlemen doing tonight?
Doing great.
Doing great. Rob and I were talking a minute ago about how we find it a little crazy. Get your thoughts on this. That we've done, edge rushers, interior D-line, and now we're doing linebackers. But out of the D-line ones, there's been no Ohio State guys listed. Do you find that a little odd?
Yes. I think if we are to talk about a guy from Ohio State on the D-line, it got to be Kenyatta Jackson. I'm expecting him to take a leap forward this year. I think he's going to have all the opportunities in the world to make a splash for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
For sure. So, as mentioned, how we do this, we have a group of guys on WTP Sports. I mentioned them scrolling. People send in their ranking lists. Whoever's running the show, myself tonight, tabulates it, assigns point values, adds it all up. That's how we get our rankings. There's no craziness to it. It's just first place gets 10 points, 10th gets 1 point, and you add them up, and that's where it falls. So I think we've been pretty spot on our rankings. I think we've done really well with them. So without further ado, gentlemen, let's go ahead and jump into it. These are the guys. we wound up with 17 people got votes on this list. So we'll start with the guys who just missed. I didn't list stats and everything for these guys. I have saved that for the top 10 guys. But you had Keaton Thomas and Sunterrain, I think is his name, Perkins, both from Mississippi. And you had, good Lord, Post, do you want to try that one? Kingston Villamuasa.
Kingston is Kingston Villamuasa.
There we go. This is one reason we love having people whose players are on this list. I do anyway. And then Tay Brown from Arizona. Those guys just missed. Both the Mississippi guys had 1 vote. Kingston and Tay both got 3 votes in our poll. So I'll let you go first on this post game. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Mr. Kingston?
Yeah, Kingston Villamuasa, linebacker for the Fighting Irish. I was so happy when he chose the Fighting Irish over USC. This guy is an impact player. And while he's going to start the season off injured, he's getting healthy from an injury he had last season, at the latter part of last season. Notre Dame shouldn't need him for those first couple of games. But here's a guy where you get versatility at the linebacker position, a guy who's really good in coverage, a guy who can rush the passer, a guy who can stuff your running game. This is a really talented linebacker. And a lot of people expect him, whenever he enters the NFL draft, to be a first-round pick.
Okay. I know about him. I'm not as schooled as you would have been on him. That's why I wanted to defer to you on him. Which one of them you got eyes on, Rob? I'll let you pick either one of them, because 2 of them are from the conference. Both of our teams are in, and then you got Tay Brown at Arizona.
Man, I'm talking about Ty Anthony Smith, the Longhorn, of course. I feel like this guy, and I don't know how they're going to work this thing out with Will Muschamp and his defense for Texas, but when you got Ty Anthony Smith out there on those 3rd down and long distances where you need a coverage linebacker or a linebacker who understands how to get to the proper depth, a ball hawking linebacker, him and Raheem Bowles out there at the same time. Both of them are linebackers who are ready to be a ball hawk. I'm excited to see what Ty Anthony Smith does. A little undersized, not one of those run-stepping guys, but he can get from sideline to sideline, and he's a pretty good coverage guy, like I just mentioned. I'm excited about him. I just wish that he could be on the field all 3 downs. I don't think that's going to be the case for him when you got Raheem Bowles out there too, because both of those guys are undersized. I don't think Texas is going to go with undersized guys too much on 1st and 2nd down, which are typically run downs.
Right, for sure. I actually am the only one who voted for Keaton Thomas. I had him with one point. He got 10th place on my ballot. I think Keaton Thomas is going to clean up this year. With Eccles in front of him, I think he's going to have just a clear – the D-line at Ole Miss is going to be really good. And I think Keaton Thomas and Perkins both are going to have just outstanding – the ability is just going to be there for it to open up for him. So, really, really curious to see. I think he's going to have a great season this year due to what's in front of him. And Rob, anybody tuning in, if you can't tell, Rob loves his Longhorns so much that he jumps way ahead in our list to go talk about Ty Anthony Smith, because Rob can't stop talking about Longhorns. Rob almost had to submit his rankings 3 times because he had 9 Texas Longhorns in the top 10. It was insane. It was so crazy. I was like, Rob, come on, man, stop it. Come on. So
Homerism at an all-time high over here in Texas Longhorn land.
Again, he is not going to dispel the Texas Longhorn ego mantra that is out there. He has it. He's got it, and he's proud of it. So now we'll move into our top 10. We had a tie for 10th with 4 different players. So we have 4 number 10s listed, just because I didn't want to type out 11, 12, 13, 14. So we'll go ahead. Rob, you already mentioned Ty Anthony Smith and talked about him. We can go ahead and let that one go. Post game, you got anything to add on Ty Anthony?
Ty Anthony is going to be, I know he's a little bit bigger than Rasheem Biles. So I expect him to make more plays in the run game. I think Rasheem Biles is a playmaker, but we'll get to him later. But I expect Ty Anthony to focus more so on the run for the Longhorns than Biles will.
Yeah, Ty Anthony. Kids from Jasper, Texas, little town out in deep East Texas, out near Beaumont, Texas, and just an athletic kid. I mean, the kid can make plays. I really like his game. I know A&M tried to get him really hard, but he wound up sliding over to Texas. So that happens. But that kid has got some super talent. I mean, you look at him, he's 6'1", 215, 60 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 fumbles, 5 for loss, and he played 13 games. So really, really good athlete. I think that's about right for where he needs to fit too in this rankings. I really think he fits right there. We'll start with you post game. Let's go visit where the boy Lane Quitten is down there at LSU. And let's go visit Mr. Whit Weeks.
Yeah, I really like Weeks, man. 6'3", 223. Had a short season, dealt with some injuries. I expect him to be fully healthy this season and be a pillar on that defense down in Baton Rouge. If they're gonna have the type of season that they want to have, Whit Weeks has to be healthy and in that lineup and making plays and running that defense. I love Whit Weeks.
Yeah, I like him as well. I think his leadership is probably underrated, man. If you look at what he's been able to do at LSU the last 2 years, and last year he was dealing with some injuries, but you still felt his presence on that sideline for this team. He is unmistakably their leader. Nobody else on that defense commands the kind of respect that he does. And I think this year, if he stays healthy, he's going to have some phenomenal numbers. I'm anxious to see him play. I just hope he doesn't play well when they play against my Longhorns in Death Valley. But I'm anxious to see what he does because I really feel like what he puts on tape this year will allow NFL scouts to really see how talented he is as a mean, gritty linebacker for LSU.
Yeah, Whit Weeks is a menace. I've used that a few times with some different players, but he just has a nose where the ball is, and he just goes and gets it. I'm pretty sure I have to go look at their roster, but I'm pretty sure his 2 brothers are still there too. I know there was 3 weeks on that team last year. And I thought he was the oldest, but I'd have to look into that. But he's got to stay healthy for LSU's defense to be what LSU wants to be. He has to play a full season and be healthy. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I can remember that kid against A&M for the past couple of years. He's known for 1 good hit or 2 good solid hits to make somebody think twice about getting up. He's just a heat-seeking missile after the ball. So that's Whit Weeks. We'll move on to the first of our 3 people from Ohio to make the list. And that would be 1, Isaiah Jones from Indiana. 6'2", 225 from London, Ohio. 78 tackles, 7 sacks, and 15 and a half tackles for loss. That's a high number. Rob, you got the lead.
I like him as well. I think I might have had him on my list somewhere in the top 10. I really like him. I think that whenever you get a guy from a small town in Ohio where pretty much all they do is farm work and play football, you're going to get a tough cookie, man. And I remember playing against some of these players when I was in high school. Whenever we played those small town teams, those guys was always ultra physical, gritty. They understood the scheme. They were film junkies. And I think he's another one of those players. I'm high on him. I'm really high on the linebacker group at Indiana as a whole. And I know I keep saying this, but whenever you play in a Kurt Signetti style or on a team with him, he's going to make sure that you are disciplined and that you stay focused on attention to detail. And I guarantee you, this guy is always going to be where he's supposed to be. So, anybody that's playing Indiana, you better make sure you put a hat on this guy because he's going to be where he needs to be to make the play happen. So, I'm excited about him, and I really think this year he's going to really help improve his stock when it comes to the NFL draft. And he's a guy who could probably play in the league for 5 to 7 to 10 years when he gets that opportunity.
Post game. You up post game?
His mute button sticking.
Oh, is it sticking? I'll come back to you. We're going to jump to Amari Campbell. We'll come back when you get it unstuck. Well, I'll go ahead with Isaiah Jones. There he is. He's back. Go ahead. You got Isaiah Jones now.
Sheesh, man. Listen. The thing that sticks out for Isaiah Jones and a lot of these linebackers that are on this list of ours is their size. Because I remember a day and age where linebackers were humongous and most of them were run stuffers. Tony Dungy, former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, is really the first guy that I saw doing this, where his linebackers were extremely small, but really, really fast and intelligent playmakers, guys who can cover and create turnovers, and they could get to the ball quick, which they like to gain. Your team would like to gain tackle when you have smaller linebackers. But shout out to Tony Dungy because I remember him with guys like Gary Brackett, and shout out to Parlay Pope, Cato June from Michigan, who was about 6', 218, and a starting linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts. So I really think Tony Dungy was the architect of this type of defense where the defenders are smaller and faster. But Isaiah Jones, man, 6'2", 225, this guy is always in the position to make plays. And that's why I am not sleeping on the Hoosiers this year because of that. What can I call it? Chemistry, camaraderie, culture of the Hoosiers, man. This is a team that's here to stay, and Isaiah Jones is going to make plenty of plays. 15 and a half sacks for a linebacker, that's off the charts.
Yeah, we'll get to some more about Indiana here in a little bit. But, I mean, 6'2", 225. You know, Rob, you mentioned it. Kurt Signetti is going to tell him, this is your job. This is your job. When we call this defense, this is your job. And that kid's going to do that job. He's not going to go over here. He's not going to run around over here. You're not going to see busted coverages from these guys. Signetti won't stand for it. So he wants these linebackers that know how to fit what he wants to do. And that's what he's got. And that Indiana defense is going to be something. crazy. So move on over to the last tie spot here. So clearly number 10 position. We're going to go with Amari Campbell out of Tennessee. 6 foot 230, 103 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 pass breakup, and a touchdown while at Penn State, followed his defensive coordinator. So got some knowledge with how the system works. I expect Amari Campbell to be pretty good this year, but we'll let you lead it off post game.
Yeah, I expect Amari Campbell to be a dude this season. Started his career at North Carolina. Now he's at Tennessee after being at Penn State with Jim Knowles. Extremely productive, man. Over 100 tackles. To me, that's a guy who wants to play football. Anytime you see a linebacker with over 100 tackles, that's a guy that enjoys hitting people. So I expect a big season for Amari Campbell, man. Like I said, he's always around the ball. Follow his defensive coordinator to Tennessee, where he expects to come in and make an immediate impact. I like Amari Campbell. I expect him to keep up that kind of production at Tennessee.
Yeah, post game, I totally agree with you. You're talking about a guy who played in the system with his defensive coordinator last year, in his career with 193 tackles, first 2 years in North Carolina, last year at Penn State. He follows his defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, which to me, I think was the reason why he even went to Tennessee was, listen, I get to go with this guy where I had 103 tackles the year before, and I get an opportunity to learn from him yet another year. And we all say the same things about Jim Knowles. Once you get into year 2 and 3 in his system, you really start clicking. So I expect for this young man to really be balling out this year for Tennessee. He's only 6 foot, but he got the weight on him at 230 to really be a run stuffer in their system. I like him a lot. Like I said earlier, I just don't want him to play well against Texas when Texas comes to Knoxville. But I think he's going to have a really good season.
Yeah, I really hope he doesn't play well when they come to Kyle Field. But here nor there. He put up 103 tackles. And let's, be real. Penn State did not have the year they wanted last year. You could tell, not that I hate using the word, that you could see that they kind of quit. They didn't necessarily quit, but they just kind of went through the motions in my mind to finish up the season. This kid didn't. He's like, no, I'm playing. I'd like to sit down and ask him, is he more impressed with the 103 tackles, or was he more happy with the 1 touchdown? Because I'm betting he was happier with the 1 touchdown. Because defensive players, man, they love to get in that end zone. So I'm looking for big things out of Amari Campbell this year. I expect him. Yeah, I would be shocked if he wasn't a captain on that defense, knowing the system. It would shock me that if he wasn't an immediate captain over there. Well, let's jump out to the west side of Texas. And Rob, you got lead here. We're going to go to Austin Romaine. 6'2", 2. Here, getting into your thumpers now post game. We're getting into your big boys. 66 tackles, half a sack, and 1 interception. Stats don't jump off the page, but I think that has to do with some of the system out there at K-State. So, Rob, you got the lead on Mr. The Lettuce Man, as I'm going to call him.
Listen, if you come from Kansas State, you a gritty guy, man. I like all Kansas State players, especially the ones who play in that front seven, because they're always gritty guys who understand I got to get in this film room because I might not necessarily have the athleticism of these smaller linebackers, but I'm going to know where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. He transferred from Kansas State. Now he's at Texas Tech. And we already know when Texas Tech throw that bag at you and you already in a conference that you're familiar with, you're going to have to take that opportunity. He decides to go to Texas Tech. Now, listen, this guy was an honorable mention all Big 12. In his career, he has 184 tackles, 110 solos, 17 and a half sacks. This guy is out there playing his heart out. I'm telling you right now, when you play a 1,458 snaps, you really know what you're doing on that football field. Texas Tech is going to get a super experience. No, it was 17 and a half tackles for loss. I'm sorry. Only 3.5 sacks. But they're getting a super talented guy who understands how to play football. And he understands the dynamic of the Big 12. I expect for him to be first team all Big 12 this year. And I think he's going to be able to show all the NFL scouts out there that he can be a bigger run-stuffing linebacker. And to post-game's point earlier, I thought they was moving away from the guys who were 225 and heavier. But now those guys are starting to come back because I think they're understanding that we still got to be able to still be able to have those run stuffers, especially on first and second down.
You got it, Post.
Yeah, man. This guy, first of all, Texas Tech's linebacking core is going to be really exciting and really dangerous. They're going to be flying around making a lot of plays in that Big 12 conference this upcoming season. But some things that stand out to me when you talk about Austin Romaine, this is a guy who diagnoses really fast. And this is a guy who's not afraid to stick his nose in there and get tackles, really reads and reacts really well. And that's a really good quality for a linebacker. Anytime you can read and react and get to the ball, that's a player I want on my team. And that's exactly what Austin Romaine does. The only knock on him is his speed and coverage ability. So we'll see how he fares. But as far as IQ, reading and reacting, diagnosing plays, this guy is top of the line.
Yeah, that was kind of my concern with Austin was, is he going to be on the field in obvious passing downs, third down and long? Are they going to leave him out there? What are they going to do? Because dropping into coverage is not his strong suit. I mean, he had one interception, but I mean, was that a tipped ball? What was going on there? So that's my main concern with Austin Romaine. Still think he's a hell of a linebacker. And he's definitely one that, you know, if you're running like a 3-4 defense, he comes in the hole and all of a sudden it's more of a 4-3 defense because he's going to plug just like a defensive tackle is going to be. Just not the width, but the strength. So I like Austin Romaine. Think that's where he is. I'm going to go ahead and call myself out here for being an idiot because I was sitting here looking at post game down there with his microphone, and I was thinking, man, that is a big glass of water or something he's got drinking. And it's his microphone. I was like, and it hasn't moved. And then I realized, so I'm going to call myself out for just being a flat out idiot right there. I just, on that note, we'll switch over and go. We're going to stay in the Big 12 here. We're going to go to post game to give us his thoughts on Cade. Here we go again. Ulave. Sorry, Cade. Got 6 total votes from us. 6'1", 235. Another triple-digit 100 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. And the nice one is 6 pass breakups. Now, he was at California last year, too, so another transfer.
Yeah, man. If I'm a BYU fan, I'm extremely excited about the addition of this linebacker. A lot of really good elite traits that stands out, especially the 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 6 pass breakups. Now, this guy is really explosive and powerful, and his speed matches the speed of cornerbacks at 6'1", 235 pounds, gentlemen. I expect big things this year from Cade. I think he's going to be a huge addition to that BYU team, and he's going to make a lot of plays, put himself in position to be drafted in this upcoming NFL draft. Huge get for BYU.
Yeah, he was a highly sought after guy in the transfer portal. BYU lands him, 3-year player at Cal, where he amassed 235 tackles in 3 years at Cal, 110 solos, 9 passes defended, 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. When I think about him and Texas transfer linebacker Leona LaFau together in that linebacker room, those guys are going to be really good. We talking about Texas Tech's linebacker group. They're going to be probably the top notch in the conference. But these two guys are not going to be far behind. I really like Cade. I think what he brings to the table is going to allow Leona LaFau to be able to roam a little bit free, to be able to maybe get on those tight ends sometimes. I really like this group. But, man, Cade is going to be the difference maker for them defensively. And I know their coach is loving that addition.
Yeah, this was you right on again, Rob. He was one of the big people wanted him out of the portal. There were a lot of people that wanted A&M wanted him. But I think once A&M got their linebacker out of the portal, I think they kind of pivoted to other positions of need. But you put up those kind of numbers, I don't care where you're playing. I don't care if you're playing at Cal. I don't care if you're playing at Bob's Discount College School. I don't really care if you're putting up those kind of numbers. You're going to be seen and you're going to be wanted because you're just a ball player is what you are. So big, you said it right, Poskin. That's a huge get for BYU because Texas Tech's defense last year is what really won that conference. Let's be realistic. BYU knew they had to match that defense or get their defense better. So big get. Rob, you're going to be up first. We're going to jump in, and I want post-game to go after you, Rob, because believe it or not, this person only was on one ballot, and it was post-game's ballot. I didn't even have him on there, and I'll get to that when I talk about him. But it's Ray Coney, Texas A&M, 7 total votes, 6'3", 240, 129 tackles. 2 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble at Tulsa. But now he comes into A&M at the SEC. I know you've talked about him, Rob. We were messaging back and forth about him. So let me get your thoughts on what you've seen and then your research stuff from Ray Coney.
Man, I wish I would have done a lot more research on him earlier before you and I got to talking. It was because of him that we got to talking this morning. And I probably left him off mine because he had Texas A&M next to his name. But listen, this is another Ohio guy right outside of Dayton, Springfield, 6'2", 240, spent a couple of years in Tulsa, probably another reason why I didn't look so deeply into him. But once I started doing my research on this guy, man, 262 tackles. That's a freaking tackling machine. 110 solos, 8 passes defended, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 8 double-digit tackles last year. 8 double-digit tackles. And then he had another 2 games where he had 8 tackles and another game where he had 7 tackles. He almost went a whole season, all 12 games, with a possibility of getting double-digit tackles. You know how rare that is? I don't care if it was at Tulsa. This guy was thumping some skulls. And I hate the fact that he's going to be at Texas A&M because we already know that Texas A&M's issue last year was deep in the game where teams were able to run on them. I think this guy is going to fill that void for them and is going to be able to stop teams from running directly at them. I hate the fact that he's at Texas A&M, but I like the fact that it's another Ohio kid that's on our board in the top 10 linebackers. Shout out to him and all of his family and friends in Fairfield, Ohio.
Yeah, for sure. This was a humongous get for Texas A&M. This is the type of guy that could really change your defense, in my opinion. Huge win from Mike Elko and that Texas A&M program because he's gonna come in right away, and you're gonna see the effect of having a player like that from day one. Things that stand out about Ray Coney to me is he never gets off the field. This is a guy you can play on any down. And if you don't believe me, just look at his stats. I expect him to do the same at Texas A&M. And another key stat about Ray Coney, his missed tackle rate is under 10%. This is a guy, when he gets his hands on you, you're going down. And Mike Elko is going to love having this guy as one of the leaders of his defense this upcoming season.
Yeah. Y'all said a lot of what I was thinking. I didn't put him on my list for one simple fact. And it's not that he's from Tulsa at a smaller conference and smaller competition and now in the SEC. That has nothing to do with it. I trust Mike Elko enough that Mike Elko knows what he wants at linebacker, and he went and found it, and he went and got it. Ray Coney reminds me of the old phrase, see ball, get ball. And he reminds me of the old school linebackers that we used to see. And the only reason I didn't put him on my list was because I want to see what kind of load's going to be put on him. We've lost Damian Sanford for a while. That was going to be his running mate at the linebacker position. He's out for a little bit. I haven't gotten a full update. He will be back at some point this year. That's the kid who had the bad injury in the spring game. And so that's my concern is, where's he going to fit without that extra running mate right beside him in Sanford? So I'm a little curious. I did have him just outside of my top 10, but I couldn't do it not knowing what he's going to look like at the beginning of the season with the defense. So that's why I left him out of my top 10. But I'm super excited he's there. I'm super excited. I don't know that I've been this excited for a linebacker there since two of them. One of them Quentin Coriat, and one was Dat Wynn. They were both pretty good. So that's where I am with Ray Coney. And now we'll move on down to post-game's first shot at Sammy Brown from Clemson. 13 votes, 6'2", 235, 106 tackles, 13 and a half tackles for loss, 5 sacks, an interception, and then a stat that I still like, the 5 pass breakups.
Yeah, man, I really like Sammy Brown. This is a guy who sticks out when you watch this Clemson defense. This was a guy who ran track when he was in high school. So one thing that sticks out when you watch Sammy Brown is his speed. Man, his speed at 6'2", 235 is amazing. And he's going to hit the ball carrier. He tackles through the ball carrier, and he makes a lot of plays, blows up a lot of screens. A guy who, if he gets his hands on the ball, he's going to take it from you. I really like Sammy Brown. He's one of the better linebackers in the whole country. But the thing that stands out for me, fellas, at 6'2", 235 is that speed. It's ridiculous.
Man, Sammy Brown to me is the linebacker that we have on our list that has the best 2-year stats of any linebacker we're talking about. We're talking about a guy with 186 tackles in 2 years at Clemson, 99 solos, 8 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 10 sacks, 1 interception. 2 years at Clemson in his 3rd year with Dabo Swinney and the crew. I think this guy is going to be the best linebacker that we've seen at Clemson in a while after his 3rd year. He's really been the real main bright spot for Clemson's defenses the last couple of years. Because we remember when they made the college football playoffs, that defense was porous as all get out, and we saw my Texas Longhorns run all over them in that playoff game. And then last year, we already know how much they underachieved. Their defense did not play well, even though they kept them in some games. Their offense just couldn't get clicking with Cade Klubnik and the crew. I think that this guy has been the brightest spot for them consistency-wise the last 2 seasons, and I expect much more the same. His 3rd year in the system, I think he really has a lot to prove. A really fast guy, a really smart guy. I think that Sammy Brown is probably going to be one of the top 5 linebackers when it's all said and done at the end of the 2026 season.
Yeah, Post, you hit it spot what I was looking at when I was looking at him. Hey, running back, you think you got the corner? You don't. And that's the worst thing. Just Rob, you gave his stats. I love Rob's stats because I look at stats from last year. Rob looks at stats since the kid was in like Pee Wee League football. Rob goes and finds them all. He calls kindergarten teachers, everything, trying to get stats, and I love it. So it's one of those that I've seen a bunch of places, and I know we've got him 6th, and I'm fine with that too. But I've seen a bunch of different sites got him listed as the number 1 linebacker in college football. So we'll see who knows what here, but I just think with his speed, I think not only is he a great linebacker, I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder after what Clemson went through last year. And I think he's going to look to rectify that. So well, that's where we are with Sammy. We'll go back to Rob first on this one and let post-game. I'll go second, and post-game you can go last on this one. We're going to jump over to Notre Dame again. Tell me his name is pronounced Drake Bowen.
It's Drayeke.
I wouldn't surprise me.
No, it's Drake.
I was like, well, there's not even an E on the end of it, so that's a little odd. But I got to leave it up to you post game to try to throw something. So it's all good, brother. It's all good. Yeah. I mean, look at what you're looking at: 6'2", 232, 67 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 4 pass breakup. I think he's going to be. I'm not going to say the star of the Notre Dame defense. And I'm sorry, Rob, I just kind of took over for you. I'll go first on this one, I guess. I don't think he's not the superstar of this defense. I think we all know that sticks out in a guy I'm sure we're going to talk about next week. But I think he is an integral part of this defense. Remind me your DC again. Post-game, I keep forgetting his name. It slips me.
Chris Ash.
Right. This is going to be year 2 for him, right? So I expect big things from Drake Bowen here. I just think he's going to put up substantial numbers, especially when you consider one of the cornerbacks they got that's pretty much going to shut down half of the field. So, all right, Rob, I'll shut up and let you go now.
Man, Drake Bowen, what can I say, man? I mean, I think we've mentioned a Notre Dame player at every one of the positions we talked about on defense. And here's yet another one on probably the scariest defense in college football. Here we got Drake Bowen, 6'2", 232, 159 tackles, 81 solos, 4 forced fumbles, 4.5 sacks, 5 pass breakups, a 3-year player here at Notre Dame. Man, listen, you in the same Freeman system. I know Chris Ash is the defensive coordinator, but don't you think for 1 second Marcus Freeman ain't got his hand all up in that defensive coordinator cookie jar? Because he does. And this guy is going to be a balling machine for Notre Dame this season, like he's been the past few seasons. I really feel like this guy is going to be in a position where he got so many talented guys around him that it may look like he might get overshined, but I don't think so because this guy's stats are going to be off the charts, and you're going to see him on every NFL team's draft board that need a linebacker because this guy is a really, really good one, and he makes the top 5 on our list.
Yeah, Drake Bowen, man, this is such a good football player. Kind of throwback, but with the athleticism at 6'2", 232 pounds. Yes, he has some athleticism to him. I believe he played running back also in high school. So really great player. The captain on the team, he's a team captain voted by his peers. So that tells you what kind of a leader this guy is, this young man is. He can really lay the wood, as we used to say back in the early 2000s. He can really hit you. Watch the Texas A&M game. Lays out Craver. Lays out Marcel Reed. This guy is physical, and he's looking to hurt people. That's what I like about Drake Bowen. His physicality, his leadership skills. He's going to be an integral part of this Notre Dame defense, the leader of the defense. And I'm going to keep it funky. He may not even be the best linebacker on the team, but he's definitely the leader of that defense. And if Notre Dame is going to have the type of season that Marcus Freeman and company is hoping for, Drake Bowen is going to be a huge piece of that, a huge slice of that pie. I love Drake Bowen, top 5 linebacker any day.
What number was he?
Man, what is
was he the one that got beat on the touchdown? I'm not trying to bring it up to be funny, but is he the one?
Yes, he got beat the last play by the tight end. If that's one area where I expect improvement, it's in coverage. But against the run, and he has the athleticism to improve there. But yes, you are correct. He did get beat on that touchdown last play.
I want to be fair. I'm not bringing that up to throw anything out there. I'm bringing it up because of what you said. Go watch the A&M game. Seriously, y'all, as an A&M guy, that dude was killing us. He was just laying dudes out. Craver, Concepcion. If you were wearing an opposite color jersey of him, he was trying to take your head off, for lack of a better term. And he damn near did a couple times. So, dude, he was brutal. So, yeah, definitely watch out for him. And keep your head on a swivel if you're a ball carrier, because that dude's coming. We'll jump right back to you post-game. We're going to jump to Xavier Atkins out of Auburn, came in with 19 total points. He's going to be a junior, by the way, this year. Here's your undersized 6'2", 210. 84 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. We're going to eliminate that last stat. It was not 1 interception. We're just going to eliminate that because that actually happened against A&M.
Yes, sir. Xavier Atkins. This is a kid. Oh, my goodness. I love watching him play. Started his career at LSU, wanted a chance to play, goes to Auburn, and look at the stats he has. His speed and athleticism really jumps out to you when you watch him play football. At 6 foot, 210 pounds, he's always around the ball. And you can use him. The versatility is there. You can use him in so many different ways, getting after the quarterback, He hangs around that line of scrimmage for a guy that's small. But this is the new age of football. The athleticism, the speed, the awareness. Man, Xavier Atkins is all that and some, or like we used to say back in the day, all that in a bag of chips. Auburn, I mean, they got to be so thankful for that kid to come and play for them because he's really a freak, and his speed and athleticism. I would say out of the top 10, he's either one or two when you talk about pure speed. This guy's a playmaker, and I think he's going to have a hell of a year for the Tigers.
Yeah, I really like Xavier Atkins, smart guy, understood. Listen, I can't get on this field for LSU. Let me go to another SEC team where they may not have as many bodies on their team. I can get on this field and ball out. Like we said earlier, 84 tackles. He did have that one interception against A&M, and he took that thing back 73 yards. He almost scored a touchdown. He didn't quite get there, but for a linebacker to be able to get an interception on the other side of the field inside their own 20 and take it all the way back to the other side of the field to put his team in scoring position, that shows that this guy has some speed. He can get sideline to sideline a little smaller. I think they want to put a little bit more girth on him so that he can be able to become more of a run stopper. But when you need a guy that can get sideline to sideline, can guard a tight end, could possibly even go out there and bump a slot receiver to let him do whatever he need to do after that, this guy is ideal for that. I really like him. I hope that Auburn understands what they have defensively in him, and they find some big guys in those trenches that can keep him clean so he can just go hunt, because he can definitely get through cracks and read some of those holes to get those tackles for loss in the backfield, where he had 9 sacks last year, y'all. 9 sacks.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, when you talk about it, Rob, he picks off the pass and he's gone. And it's not like our receivers were on deep go routes. Craver was right there, and he just turned. And it took Craver all the way to like the 2-yard line to hawk this guy down. Mario Craver's fast. So that tells you how fast this linebacker was moving. So he's an insane athlete. I actually put him second on my list just because I saw the athleticism up close and personal last year. And, I mean, when you watched Auburn last year, when they needed somebody to make a play, it was either Keldrick Falk, who's in the NFL now, or Xavier Atkins. And Auburn had a really good defense last year, too. Let's not forget. They just couldn't score. So this guy is going to be a problem for a lot of teams. And I think Golish is going to love having him sitting back there in his defense, just pretty much playing where he needs to go and getting where he needs to be. So Xavier Atkins comes in at number 4 on our list. Jump to number 3. We'll go post-game, me, and then you, Rob. We're going to talk about the third and final member of the Ohio trio on this list, who some of us on this did not even know this guy was from Ohio. We're not going to mention any names for who didn't know, Rob. Okay? No names are going to be mentioned, Rob. So, post-game, jump off with Mr. Rasheem Biles, the Texas Longhorns, 6'1", 220, 100 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions at Pittsburgh last year.
Well, Rob, I thought he was the smaller of the 2 linebackers at Texas, but he looks to be the biggest one, and he's also extremely small for a linebacker. Doesn't matter. He makes up for his size with his speed and athleticism. And just look at his stats, folks. Over 100 tackles, 17 for loss, 4.5 sacks, 2 interceptions. This guy is a playmaker who's going to make a lot of plays for the Longhorns this upcoming season. always around the line of scrimmage, always hunting down quarterbacks, always disrupting that run game. I talked about Tony Dungy back in the early 2000s, bringing those small linebackers to the table where everybody thought he was nuts because they would get ran all over. But that's the name of the game nowadays. These smaller guys are what they essentially did was make safeties linebackers. This guy is elite. I love watching Rasheem Biles play. I got to see him at Pittsburgh last year. I think he'll be a big part of that Texas Longhorn defense this upcoming season. I love him. Athleticism off the charts.
Yeah, Rasheem Biles he was probably the crown jewel of the linebackers in the transfer portal. Let's just be realistic here. Him being in Texas was a total shock. And I think it was a total shock to everybody, including Longhorn fans, if we're going to be real about this. I think everybody expected him to wind up right here in Columbus at Ohio State. I really honestly believe that. Texas did what Texas does. Not going to say they bought their players. I'm not going to say that stuff. I'm tired of that mantra about, oh, well, they just do it. You know what? That's the name of the game right now. So do what you got to do. Texas did what it took to get him. Insanely talented guy. Undersized, you're right, a little bit. That's the only thing I'd say that would be a leaning concern is the wear of the big offensive lineman getting down on him throughout a game. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. This guy looks built to handle that. I hope he has at least one bad game this year. One really, really, really bad game. And I hope it's at the end of the season, right after Thanksgiving. And that's the only time I wish him to have a bad game. But, I think y'all got a definite blue chip sitting right there at linebacker right now. So, and that's just another member of that Texas defense, which that Texas defense is pretty nasty, y'all. So I'll let you go give us your down low on Mr. Biles.
Man, his mama said the S is silent. His name is Raheem Biles. Let's go, Texas Longhorn, out of Pick Central, right up the street from where I'm at right now. I'm excited. I did not know he was an Ohio kid, but I'm super excited now because he's playing for my Longhorns. Man, check this out. 183 tackles, 87 solos, 9 passes defended. Now, this is not a misprint or misstatement. 3 interceptions, all 3 were touchdowns. Let's go. Raheem Biles is a beast. And I'm telling you now, Texas was so excited to get him because just like USCC, Sean, I thought for sure he was going to the Ohio State Buckeyes and would stay in the Midwest, but he decided to come down south to my Longhorns in Austin. We needed him because we lost Anthony Hill, but I think this guy is going to be one of the best linebackers in the country in a Will Muschamp scheme where he can get after the quarterback. I love this guy. You're talking 10.5 sacks, y'all. 10.5 sacks. This guy is also a film room junkie. He's always in the film room. That's what they're saying at Longhorn camp, that this guy stays in the film room because he wants to be the best at that position, and he has an opportunity. He's number 3 on our list. He can definitely be number 1 by season's end, especially if he get 3 picks and take all 3 of them to the house again.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Kid's talented. Leads us to our number 2. And we're going to jump with Rob. You can go first on this one. We're going to go back out west to West Texas. This Texas Tech defense might be something to be reckoned with, fellas. Because we're going to bring in, I know this one, Ben Roberts. I can do that one. Texas Tech, 6'3". I think he's the biggest linebacker in our list, 6'3", 245. I think he's the heaviest one. 90 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, four interceptions, 6 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. And for people, remember, he had a pretty good defense around him last year too. So some of those numbers could have been probably a lot higher if it wasn't for a couple of other guys. Rob, you lead us off.
Man, what can I say about this guy, Ben Roberts, bro? Listen, 279 tackles, y'all. 137 solos, 5 interceptions. Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year 3 years ago. Second team All Big 12. Third team last year. Man, this guy had 107 tackles as a freshman. You already know that this guy is about to ball out for Texas Tech. I really like what Texas Tech is doing. They're sending a message to the rest of the Big 12 to listen. Oklahoma and Texas is not here. We your daddy now. We your daddy, and Texas Tech is making sure that they are getting everybody that they need to stay relevant. And like Steve Sarkisian said, this team is probably going to be in the college football playoffs every year because nobody else in this conference can match them dollar for dollar. And when we go over the rosters and all the players we've been talking about, Texas Tech players have been mentioned just about every single time because they understand the landscape of college football, and Ben Roberts is going to ball out and have NFL scouts salivating at that size and that ability to get after the ball, and also 5 interceptions, bro. That's a lot for a linebacker.
Well, SEC Sean mentioned it. The heaviest guy, this is the heaviest linebacker on our list, but I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is the best coverage linebacker on the list as well. And that's really where he makes his bread and butter in his pass coverage. This was the Big 12 championship game MVP last season with 2 interceptions in that game. Really reads and reacts well in pass coverage, and he breaks on the ball with great timing. This guy is really good in pass coverage, and he's solid against the run. The Texas Red Raiders are going to have a hell of a linebacking group, and Ben Roberts is definitely one of the better linebackers in the country. This guy came into college as a safety at 6'3", converted to linebacker when he transferred or when he got to college, and it's paid dividends because, like I said, this guy is outstanding in pass coverage. And that's where he makes his bread and butter. Really exciting player to watch.
Yeah, he's a very, very exciting player to watch. I think I have to go back and look. I think out of his interceptions, I think 3 of them came against BYU. I think 2 were in the championship game, and I think he got 1 in the regular season game too. Speaking to your coverage stuff, post game is why I say that, because you think a linebacker like that, you think get in there, plug the hole, stop the run. You're not dropping into coverage. We're going to use this little skinnier guy over here who's 215 to drop in. I'm going in coverage. And not only am I going in coverage, I'm going to watch the quarterback's eyes. And as soon as I see that motion, I'm jumping the route and I'm going to pick it. Great hands for a linebacker. You always hear when a DB or somebody drops a pass, they always say, what do they always say? That's why he plays defense. Well, this guy doesn't drop them. That's the difference. So Texas Tech's got something going out there with their linebacking core for sure. Really, really interested to watch Ben Roberts and how he does this year. He's got people around him. Like I said, they did lose some around him, so we'll see how they reload it. But it looks like Texas Tech's going to be right there doing it again. And last but not least, gentlemen, we'll start with post game down there. If you're ready, post game. If not, we'll move on. to the number 1 overall WTP Sports top linebacker for 2026, Mr. Elijah Hardy from Indiana, who is only going to be a junior. I think there's 2 or 3 juniors on this list. This is an undersized linebacker, 5'11", 227. 103 tackles, though. 10.5 tackles for loss. 8 sacks. 2 interceptions and 5 pass breakups. Post game, let's hear it.
Man, I'm telling y'all what they did, the evolution of the defense. They made linebackers into defensive ends, and they took safeties and made them linebackers. Look at Elijah Hardy is just an absolute monster. This guy wreaked havoc and terror on the Big Ten last year with these kind of stats: 103 tackles, 10.5 for loss, 8.5 sacks. They were lining this guy up all over the line of scrimmage, and he was making plays for the Hoosiers. He is going to be another big slice of that pie if Coach Cignetti is going to be successful again this season. This guy, to me, is the best player on that team, the best player on that defense, the best linebacker they have. When a guy has stats like this, it just screams out versatility, and a guy who's extremely athletic and fast and wants to hit people. Again, anybody with those type of numbers wants to hit people, wants to make plays. This was a huge big part of that team success for the Hoosiers. I love Elijah Hardy. Easily could be the best linebacker in the country for the upcoming season.
Mr. Hardy, what can I say about you? You know you're a brilliant guy. Whenever you can get accepted into the Naval Academy, where he started his career at, started 4 games at the Naval Academy as a freshman, goes on and takes his talent to Indiana, where we know he has balled out there. We're expecting to ball out even more this year. He had 13 tackles against Oregon, which was one of the better offenses last year in the country on October the 11th. I really like him. I agree with you post game. I think he's the best player on that defense. He's going to be a guy that's going to make sure that everybody is where they need to be. He's going to make sure that he is the Kurt Cignetti out there on the field. I love this guy. He's only 5'11", but he has the weight to be able to do everything you need done at the linebacker position at 227. I'm excited for this young man. I want to see what he does in the big games that they have in the Big Ten this year and see if he can hold up against some of them better offenses. I'm rooting for him. He's number 1 on our board, and he's deserving.
Yeah, there's not much else for me to add to this. Y'all pretty much took it all and covered it. I mean, this guy, he's going to be the leader of that defense, which we expect to be a good defense again under Cignetti. So I think he might even benefit from being 5'11" with the size of offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Now maybe he just hides and just waits. He's like the coyote trying to get the roadrunner, except he gets the roadrunner when he comes through the hole. So I really think that could have something to do with it, is he kind of gets lost in the mix because people overlook him, so just part of it. So there's our top 10 guys in the chat, ladies in the chat, anybody in the chat. Who do we miss? Y'all got anybody else we missed?
Any more linebackers out there in college football that we know is going to shine? I'm quite sure Georgia probably got a guy. I'm quite sure Alabama probably has a guy. Right off the top of my head, I don't know their names, but I'm quite sure they got some dudes.
Yeah, no doubt about that. This is a really tough list to handicap 10 players with, man. There are a lot of freakish athletes at the linebacker position. A lot of guys across college football that are making a lot of plays at linebacker.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, you looked, there was just from our votes, we had 17. We couldn't narrow it down to 10. Everybody from 17 to 1 got a vote. And, I'm going to be honest, if we'd have had more ballots come in, we probably would have been up to 20, to be honest. But the only name I'd say to keep an eye out for that would have been on my list had he been healthy was Damian Sanford from A&M. That kid is an electric freak at the linebacker position. But because of the injury, I couldn't justifiably put him on this list. But that'd be one I'd say that I would add if I was going to add one. Anything else in the comments? No. I saw people asking about Auburn. I saw you got that post with your sleeper pick. Closing thoughts. Anything to add? Anything you want to talk about? Anything?
Let's get this question. Liam said he had a question for us regarding linebackers. Go ahead, Liam.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, my man. He said he wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
SEC.
Come on. Let's go. We'll see what Liam has to say. That's the be all end all question, Liam. I think Ole Miss is gonna. I'm not gonna say crumble, but I think Ole Miss is gonna take a step back for sure. I think losing Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. is going to hurt that offense more than people are leading on right now. The defense could be good. I will give them that. They've got some guys on defense, and of course, Golding being the defensive coordinator, I think he'll be fine. But I honestly expect Ole Miss to. I could see Ole Miss 8-4-ish, 9-3. That's kind of where I've got Ole Miss pegged in my SEC standings. Before the season starts, I'll drop my SEC power rankings before the season too. But yeah, I'd say Ole Miss takes a step back for sure, Liam. They don't crumble to like 4-8 or something, but they do take a step back. Either one of y'all got any extra thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't expect Mississippi to go on the type of run they went last year. They might even miss the playoffs. Sorry. But anytime you got some of the best players on both sides of the ball, I know SEC Sean mentioned Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin not being there, and I definitely think that's going to hurt that team a little bit. But anytime you got those monsters on both sides of the ball that Mississippi has, I fully expect them to be in every game. They just may lose a game or two that they didn't lose last year. But they definitely still got some dudes on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I expect Trinidad Chambliss to be good as anybody. But I don't expect them to be a playoff team this year.
I feel like outside of Texas and Georgia, I think Ole Miss could be right there with LSU, right there with Alabama, right there with Texas A&M, right there with any of those other teams right there in that 5-6 range. I really don't feel like Trinidad Chambliss is going to be able to sneak up on anybody. Teams are going to be in a game for him and Kewan Lacey. Very talented guys, very talented on the defense. I think they're going to be a top 5-6 team in the SEC, which is really, really good. Because if you think about it, you look at that Texas, you look at that Georgia, you look at that Texas A&M, you look at that Oklahoma, you look at that Alabama, you looking at some teams, LSU, you're looking at some teams that are going to be really, really good and talented. Everybody can't be in the number 1 or number 2 spot. So when you get to 3, 4, 5, and 6, it could be just about any of those teams that I just named.
For sure. You dropped another one real quick. Wrong question. Let me get down to it. How much of a leash do we think Bama fans have for DeBoer?
They don't have any leash whatsoever. They're already choking him. The fans are choking him. The administration loves him, though. But that's just it. The administration love him. They already done gave him a deal. It don't matter what the fans say.
Yep. They gave him a huge contract extension. And when I found out about it, I'm not going to lie, I immediately turned on Paul Feinbaum. If you ever want to know what Alabama fans are thinking, just turn on that show for 30 minutes and you'll know everything you need. If you can stand it for 30 minutes, that is. They were not pleased. They don't like this guy. But I'm going to give DeBoer some credit. Man, you took over for the greatest of all time down there. Let's be realistic. You take over for Saban. The expectations are already out of this world. So he was set up to not get the fans, but there's been a lot of stuff going on saying, Bama's not recruiting the way that they used to. All the media polls I see have Bama in 6th or 7th in the SEC, and that was just unheard of a couple years ago. So there's no leash from the fans, but Rob said it. The administration loves him, and I just don't see anything changing.
Yeah, I think, that the bar that Nick Saban set is so damn high that I think Alabama overlooks DeBoer. Do they want to win national championships? You bet. But the type of season they had, they were a playoff team. I mean, what more does any fan base want than to see their team playing for a national championship and making the playoffs? That's what they're being. That's what Alabama has been. So is he Nick Saban? No, but Kalen DeBoer, I think, is a solid coach. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was a weird hire from the get go, but I think DeBoer gets more flack than he deserves. I think he's an excellent coach. I just think the bar was set so high with Saban. Those fans expect total domination.
Exactly. So appreciate the questions, Liam. Most definitely. I saw you responded to him post game with the schedule. Love to see you back as often as possible, Liam, and anybody else in the chat. Come on back. Go tomorrow night. We've got the AFC East breakdown tomorrow night, hosted with Mossberg and I believe post game. I believe that show's called the 614 Bend. So that's post game Moss. Who other people may jump on, but those two for sure will be there. Thursday we're hosted by post game, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Don't know what we're talking about this Thursday. I guess we're going to find out. Any thoughts yet?
AFC West breaking down the AFC West. We'll do. I know Mossberg was planning on doing the East tomorrow night, and then Thursday night we'll cap off the AFC with the AFC West division.
Okay. And then, Mondays and Fridays are kind of open shows for us. I do some NASCAR stuff. Mossberg does some conversation stuff. I will say this Friday, we are starting our Texas high school football series. Me and my buddy Doug, we're going to start breaking down Class 1A and 2A in Texas and work our way all the way up to the big 6A schools. So we're going to start that this Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, Rob's got control, and who knows what's going to go on those days. It's probably going to have a burnt orange color to the screen, but you just have to get used to it. So other than that, please also, like we said, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell to all of our channels. That shows us support, shows us, makes what we're doing y'all enjoy. Go to our website, WTPSportsDudes.com. Email there. There's an About Us section. Leave your emails with questions, comments, topics, whatever you want. We'll take care of them. You can go find all the streams posted up on Patreon. WTP Sports Dudes 2026, I think, is the place to search for it there. You know, you can find all this stuff there. It's also listed from there. It goes over to Spotify. So if you're in the car and you can't watch, but you want to listen, crank it up on your Spotify, and we can find it. You can find us that way too. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Gentlemen, great show. Appreciate the insight. Glad to know that Raheem Biles had 97 tackles in recess in 5th grade. I'm glad to know that. So other than that, gentlemen, y'all have a great evening. And next week, everybody in the chat, we are doing defensive backfields. We're doing cornerbacks and safeties. I think that may change. It may just be cornerbacks because that's going to be a lot of people on that list for cornerbacks and safeties. So I think we're going to split it. We're probably going to go cornerbacks next week. All right, gentlemen, without further ado, we'll call it a night. Everybody go enjoy the rest of your evening. We are out of here. Peace.